Welcome to the Jay Davis Show. Our guest today is Scott Judd, friend.
Yeah.
But Scott is an amazing entrepreneur, founder, serial entrepreneur, owns Blue Mountain Labs, who's a partner with us in 21 again, but also owns Wise Water, which is an awesome product that he's working on that we're super excited about, and many other things. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Why don't you give us kind of a background of your entrepreneurial kind of journey? How did you get here?
Sure. I caught the entrepreneurial bug when I was in college. So I had a friend, and he was leaving, and he had started a window washing business, and he sold me on buying it from him. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll buy your business. And it was cool. It was a little, fresh kid, early 20s. Went to the bank and got a loan, did the whole thing, and it was kind of a baptism by fire there. And, I ended up, and then I hired a guy to do most of my work. So I was in college working maybe 5 to 10 hours a week, making 10 times what my buddies were making at a job, paying minimum wage. So I kind of caught the bug.
Yeah.
When I left college, I sold it. I went into corporate America. Cut my teeth there, but always it was kind of in the back of my mind. And then I had an opportunity with a friend to start a business. And I mean, we can get into it if you want to, but I lost that business in 2008 with the downturn.
Yeah.
But it was a painful lesson, but it was the lessons I got out of that, I think, were the springboard for any success that I've had since then.
Yeah.
And then I started a contract manufacturing company, Equinox Nutraceutical. We sold to private equity 4 years ago. I've got Blue Mountain Labs, which is also a contract manufacturing company. And then, invested in other products and things like that. And then, my baby right now is Wise Water.
Yeah.
I'm and we can talk about that later or now, whatever you want. But I talk to anybody I can about it because it was such a fun thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go into how you eventually developed that, and I love hearing about kind of where that idea came from. What was the corporate kind of job? Was that in manufacturing and supply chain? Or?
No. So I did various things. I sold tax and research software to CPAs and tax attorneys.
Yeah.
I worked at the Covey Leadership Center before they merged with Franklin Quest and turned into Franklin Covey.
Yeah.
Selling corporate training and consulting.
Yep.
And then Franklin, went into Franklin Covey, and so I did that. I don't know if I still got it, but I'm actually a certified 3-day 7 Habits instructor. And I don't know if that's lapsed or anything, but
I think it's still around.
Yeah, it's still good.
Yeah.
And so then I left there and I went to a company called Siebel with the kind of the .com boom.
Yeah.
They're a big CRM. Nobody's heard of them because Oracle scooped them up.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day. And then it was about that time when I started that first business that was, we kind of created a product, and we helped new entrepreneurs with their tax and accounting and business registration, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably difficult during the 2008 crash.
Yeah, that's where it all went away at that little business.
Because all your clients probably went under and as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
it was messy. But I look back on that painful lesson fondly because it sucks when you're going through it.
Yeah.
But the lessons that I learned out of that, like I've still learned them. I'm still applying them today.
Yeah.
Right. Which is like, you got to make hay while the sun shines, right? Like, like cash is king, and like, just keep going, keep innovating, keep growing, keep doing what you need to do, have multiple things going. So if something goes sideways, you're not kind of caught.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Man, so many great lessons, I'm sure, that came out of that. And I think it's funny, like, seeing kind of the trends in interviewing entrepreneurs on the podcast. Like, I always notice, like, usually sales experience, very often service businesses are kind of how people get in. That's always like a lot of times when I talk to college students, I feel like they're like, I want to create the next Facebook. I'm like, why don't you do something where you can make like $500,000 a year?
Right.
And just start learning, like, how do I do accounting? How do I hire people? How do I,
Right.
it's really hard to create a world-changing idea at the same time that you're learning how to hire someone. It's tough.
Correct. 100%. Yeah. Well, and you'll probably agree with this, but the reality of being in the trenches day in and day out, trying to create something, you change. Like you have to change and grow.
Yeah.
Your business isn't going to grow beyond the scope of who you are.
Yeah.
And so that work on yourself, right? Get better at all of those things. And then that's how your business becomes successful.
Where do you feel like in your career, where did you hit that point where you all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm in love with like the craft of entrepreneurship, of like starting things? Did you still have times where you're like, man, should I keep doing this?
Yeah. No, it it's funny because it was with Blue Mountain actually, or not. Excuse me, not Blue Mountain. It was with Equinox. I was the business was growing. I had a lot of stuff coming at me. At the same time, I was, as we all in one form or another deal with, I had some partnership issues that were kind of stacking onto that. And, but I had recently learned the 2008 lesson.
Yeah.
And so I was, head down, my head was down and I was just grinding. I was just working, it's like people look and they say, oh, look, you drive a cool car or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but you don't see weekend after weekend, 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday night, getting the thing done. So Monday morning you can deliver to your customer.
Yeah.
And, I kind of reached this point with it where I was feeling a ton of stress, and I just had a breaking point where I said, I'm done. I'm tired of feeling like this.
Yeah.
And it's not that the problems went away, but it's like I chose to focus on them differently.
Yeah.
And so then what would happen is I just wake up, and to this day, this is what I do. I just wake up every morning and I go, I wonder what 10 problems I'm going to have to solve today.
Yeah.
And some are big, some are small, but they don't go away.
Yeah.
And so you just kind of get into this mode of like, here's this bigger vision. Here's what I'm going for. And here are these things that I got to solve along the way.
Yeah.
And you don't let it rattle you, I guess, is when they come, So on the flip side, when things are great, I don't go out and buy a Ferrari. I'm like, that's great. Let's keep going. But I know it's going to be like this.
Yeah.
So,
There's always challenges coming.
Yeah.
How did that approach and that mentality get impacted and shift as you sold one business and then, kind of went back to, okay, I'm going to start another thing? Like, because I think that's almost what I noticed with serial entrepreneurs is there's kind of a love of the game that they realize at some point more than like, oh, I'm trying to just sell everything.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to have exits every other day.
Yeah, right. And what's interesting is, for me, I look at the growth path of anything that I start, and I think I'm self-aware enough to know I don't want to be the CEO of a $500 million company. I want to own a $500 million company, but I don't want to be the CEO of it. And so really, I think what it comes down to is I have to focus on where I like to play and what I'm good at. And then a key skill is finding A players and key people and getting out of your own way, right? As soon as I can, I'm hiring people to do the things that I have to do that I know I can find people that'll do it better than me.
Yeah.
And so I think part of that comes from my time at Franklin Covey and selling corporate training and consulting or soft skills, as they call it.
Yeah.
There are some people that maybe disagree. I went to a Billionaire Founder Series and was listening to this guy talk about how he built and exited his company, had $1 billion exit. And he's like, it's 100% meritocracy. I don't care about culture. I don't care about soft skills. I don't care about any of that. I want clones of me. And I'm sitting there listening to that and like, that's not me,
Yeah.
you know? And so part of what I enjoy is developing people, right? Like I like to develop people and help them grow and see them grow. But I've discovered, and Blue Mountain is a perfect example of this. I spent 4 or 5 years developing culture, developing a process-driven culture. In manufacturing, you have to be process-driven, and developing my people. And I'm proud to say that my senior staff, every hire that I've made on my senior level, has never left, right? And so that speaks to the culture, it speaks to the environment. But what that brings to the bottom line is you're playing the long game. And so once you've got that team and that culture, what that brings to the bottom line is kind of a shorthand in communication, right? So these guys have been in the trenches for 5 years. They've been together for 5 years. They're solving problems day in and day out. So they know how each other works. They know how to communicate with one another. And so then there's this kind of an order of magnitude increase in speed and efficiency of solving problems and getting things done, because I've got this core team that's cohesive. And you can't just, like, if you're 100% meritocracy, that worked for him. That's great. That's just not the way I like to do it.
Yeah.
And so I think there's lots of different ways to get there. But I love that my team, they work well together, they communicate well together, and that only comes from, building a culture.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. I definitely feel like one of the biggest lessons I've learned in the last 15 years as an entrepreneur is how important people are. I mean, it is like, it's easy to fall in this like, oh, we just make widgets or whatever. And it's like, but it's people making widgets. Mm-hmm. It's people selling widgets. Everything is people. So what lessons do you feel like you've learned about how do you hire? How do you find? Like, I feel like that's something that's developed for me, that I've now created a process and a system of like, you're never going to be 100%. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be people who you're going to hire and you're like, dang it, that was the wrong hire. Yeah. So what are some of those lessons you've learned?
First, that's an area I definitely need to improve in. I know I need to be better at that process. The best experiences that I've had are when I reach out to my network and I say, hey, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that kind of a person. So my general manager, she's awesome at Blue Mountain, and that was a referral from my network.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, when I was just starting, I got referred to her, and I couldn't afford her at that time. And I was really small, just getting going. And so I kind of had to pass. And then I think it was a year and a half later, it came up again, and I was in a better position and grabbed her. And, she's been great.
Yeah.
And so I think reaching out to my network is ideal. Is my ideal way to find people.
Yeah.
I did, however, I was at a couple of weeks ago. I was down in Vegas with Alex Hormozy at acquisition.com.
Yeah.
They do a business scaling workshop. That was fantastic, by the way. That was great value for that time there. And one of the guys that was talking was kind of their main recruiter.
Yeah.
And he had developed a system, right? And what's ironic is we are so locked in our manufacturing system, right? You have to be. So we have a system, how we run our manufacturing company, how we produce product, how we, all of the steps required to source the raw materials to create the finished product, right? Yeah. We're locked in on that process. We've got SOPs, a book of SOPs this thick.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I write a process and refine a process for hiring people?
Yeah.
And so I need to take a page from my own book and write a process.
Which is something you guys are amazing. I mean, that's why we wanted to partner with you guys for 21 again, was you guys just are very dialed. And, and especially when you're dealing with stuff where people are putting stuff in their body. Yeah. I mean, you want to be very careful and make sure you're delivering high quality, great product. Yeah. But it's very true. It's even same thing. look back and I'm like, man, why didn't I have a process? Why was I just kind of just shotgunning everything when it came to hiring? And, it's funny how that shifts. So tell us more about Wisewater. How did you get into that idea? How did that kind of come to you? Was that a process? Was it all of a sudden an aha moment?
Well, no, it's an interesting story because I'm ADHD, like a lot of entrepreneurs. I took Adderall for years, and I quit taking it maybe 4 years ago because the side effects were outweighing the benefits.
Yeah.
And about that time, I had a better focus on my health. So I was eating cleaner. I was exercising. I go to my functional medicine doctor every 6 months. I get blood draws, look at levels, make sure everything was good. And on paper, I'm quite healthy.
Yeah.
But I would still have just brain fog and low energy and low motivation. And it was just like an effort to struggle to kind of to get with stuff. And, so, and I don't like energy drinks, right? I'm not bagging on people who do, but for me, I don't like.
Doesn't work for you.
Doesn't work. It just make me feel weird. Artificial stimulation. It doesn't give me what I need, and so I wouldn't take those. So I was searching for a solution. I tried products on the market that, purported to be the natural Adderall or whatever, and there were some that I'd take and I'd feel some kind of an effect. I'm like, yeah, that's helpful. That's pretty good. Others I'd take and I'd just give me a headache. And then others I'd take and nothing. I wouldn't feel anything. And so, I'm in the space. I've been in the space for 20 years with all of these ingredients and these ingredient vendors. And so I started going down the rabbit hole of these novel functional ingredients. And I was only looking at like the premium, like there are ingredients that are either patented or trademarked that have clinical studies behind them. In effective doses and things like that. And I started testing these ingredients on myself one at a time. And there's a thing with ingredients, it's called different things. I call it the entourage effect, which is you can take ingredient A and get a benefit or an effect. You can take ingredient B, get a different benefit, but if you combine A and B together, it creates an altogether new effect or benefit. Yes. And it is not hyperbole for me to say that the 5 ingredients I put in Wisewater work like magic for me. Yeah. Like I solved my brain fog. I solved it. And so the interesting part of the story, though, is I was never intending to create a product to take to market. Yeah. I was just trying to solve my problem. I'm just back in my R&D lab mixing stuff up going, hey, what's maybe this will work. And so it worked so well for me, I started giving it to people around me. And I've got tons of cool stories, but there are a lot of people that are like, man, this is great. I love this. This works so well for me. And so at that, and so I wasn't even job costing it. When we make products for our customers, price usually is one of the primary drivers. Yeah. It's like, hey, I want this product, but man, I need to be at this price. I was not factoring price at all when I was just trying to solve my problem. And so after I had kind of created it, I then job costed it and looked at it and go, oh wow, yeah, this would be an expensive product.
This is not cheap.
Not cheap. And so then I'm giving it to these other people and they're having a similar experience with it. And so I'm like, all right, this has to be in the world. Yeah. And so this one kind of feels like a mission. It's like mission, right? It's like, I want to find my tribe. I want to find the people who have the same experience with the drink as I do. Yeah. Because it's so beneficial. Yeah. And so anyway, that's kind of that story. And
dude, that's awesome.
Here we are. Yeah.
Well, one thing I think like that's important to point out for listeners, almost to like kind of draw some learnings from that. Like one thing I think is, I notice with young entrepreneurs, they don't separate in their mind. Like there's kind of ideation, and then there's entrepreneurship, and those in many ways are two different things. And I feel like exactly what you just explained is the process of ideation that's that's correct.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times you meet people who are like, oh, I'm trying to come up with an idea. And it's like, it's not really how it works. Like focus on the problems that you have in your life and then just try and solve them. And if you can solve them, sometimes you solve them and you're like, man, that's not commercially viable right now. Maybe one day it will be.
Yeah.
But I think that that's such an important lesson of you can be an entrepreneur and be building businesses. And then at the same time, like ideas are kind of just, you gotta have this like open receptacle or be an open receptacle to an idea that will come, but it'll come. Like you can't force it. You can't sit down. I always think it's funny when like young people are like, let's sit down and talk about 10 ideas and then let's choose one.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, why don't we just wait until that idea comes? Or, let's go build a business in a place where there's an opportunity, but trying to create something new just by snapping our fingers doesn't really work.
Right. Well, and if you take that concept of let's sit down and come up with 10 ideas, you can do that. There's no shortage of great ideas. There's a shortage of great execution.
Yeah.
And what happens when you go that route, it's an extrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
And so when the times get tough, you kind of like, screw this, whatever. But if you have, like you say, and you kind of like, hey, here's this problem, I solve it, it's helping people. Then when times get tough, as they always do when you're building a business, you're intrinsically motivated to see it through, and you just stick with it. So you've got that, like naturally, you've got this drive to stay with it, and it's not forced because you're intrinsically motivated to keep it going. And the other way, like you say, is just, I just want to make some money, and it's like, if your primary focus is making money, you'll never make very much.
Yeah.
Making money should be the side effect of the thing that you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say that if you really want to make a lot of money, entrepreneurship's the worst way to do it.
100%. Yeah.
Because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And like you said, you hit those hard times and it's like, I've seen the friends who you could tell were in it for the money. And then as soon as it gets hard, they're like, I don't want to do this. And you're like, yeah, because you don't actually love this.
Yeah.
Like I have this artist that I love, and he just was talking with an interviewer recently, like never does interviews. His name's John Bellion, and he was talking about how he's like, yeah, like I used to make songs in my basement, and now I've like made all of these songs for famous people and become very successful, and now I make songs in my basement, and like I'm still doing the thing that I always loved doing. And I think that is the differentiator that you see with people, where it's like, oh, I would do this for free. Like I love doing it. It's what I talk about on the weekends with my friends, with, drive my wife crazy because she's like, enough.
Right.
Every restaurant we go into, she's like, you don't have to analyze the restaurant and try and figure out how much money they make.
Right.
How are they doing? What should they do different? But yeah, I think that's the driver.
Yeah.
It's a great point.
Yeah.
That extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation. So for you, what do you think has changed? I mean, supplements are like so big right now. It's a very like booming. Everyone's focusing on it. What do you think has changed over the last 15 years, 20 years as you've been in the industry?
I think the consumer is waking up to the idea that there are, like, they have to take control of their own health journey. And there are plenty of guys out there that are just making stuff to make a profit.
Yeah.
But there are great products out there.
Yeah.
But you have to do your diligence. And so I think, when I started, it was just affiliates, go as big as you can go and tuck and run and hide. And I see so many now of these brands that are like, no, I want a great product. I'm not going to run from my customer. I want brand equity. I want to develop a brand in the world, and which is great, which is a great news. I mean, there will always be the bottom feeders in any space, so that's a shift that I've seen primarily on the consumer side is people are like, I know I want something, and I know there's good stuff out there. I need to educate myself on it rather than just So there's been a shift in higher quality products and brands launching products.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see. In many ways, I think supplements are now in maybe there's not a better way to say it, but like kind of giving traditional medicine a run for its money. Like, oh, you can get supplements that have better outcomes
Yeah, well,
than traditional medicine.
this isn't a conspiracy theory podcast, so I'm not gonna.
Hey, let's go down it.
I'm not
Oh,
gonna.
man.
I just think Big Pharma's got the FDA in their back pocket.
Totally.
And you know, I don't want to be too controversial, but I agree with you. I think you need to take your own health into your own hands, and you need to kind of do the research and figure stuff out, because Big Pharma doesn't want you cured.
Yeah.
They don't want you healthy because they can't sell anything to you.
Yeah.
And so it takes some work, but there's a lot of great solutions out there.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the things that attracted me to investing in 21 Again.
Yeah.
With you is you started with, hey, let's test these guys, let's test their testosterone level, let's give them our product, and let's see if it actually works.
Yeah.
And so you've got this, like, you're saying it to the world. Hey, here's Bob. He was 270 on his testosterone level. After 3 months of taking 21 Again, he's 460. He's gone up, and it's like, all right. And it was kind of similar to Wise, right? Where it's like you're trying to use the right ingredients in the functional doses that actually work.
Yeah.
And so this is the hard part is there are guys out there that will say, hey, product X or ingredient X has been shown to help with this problem, and you need 1,000 milligrams of it every day for 3 months to actually see a benefit. Well, that's expensive. So let's put 50 milligrams in and make the claim that, hey, this ingredient is in the product.
Yes.
But it's not in the functional dose that you need to actually be effective.
Yeah.
And so, that's why I like what you guys, or what I guess we are doing with 21 Again, which is, it's like, yeah, let's make a product that actually works. And,
Yes.
And Jarrett, he was trying to solve a problem for him.
Yeah.
And he solved
it. Was the same
thing.
process.
Yeah.
Where he's like, oh man, my testosterone's low. And it's funny. That's the common thing that I see with every single entrepreneur I've ever talked to, been friends with, interviewed. It's always like, I had this problem myself. It was super frustrating. And so I was like, I got to solve this. And like seeing it solve your problems, and then seeing it solve your friends and family's problems, and they're coming to you, like you've experienced with Wise Water, where people are like, hey, what do I got to do to get more product, man? Like, I will do anything.
Yeah,
and it's
like we're sitting here, and I had a little Shopify notification. It's like a little dopamine hit for me every time. I'm like, sweet.
Yes.
Because we haven't even started ads. The website still sucks. I mean,
yeah,
it's just word of mouth and people saying, I love your products. So.
Yeah. I think that's what's so interesting, what you were saying earlier. And I don't even think it's that much of a conspiracy. I think it's like, it's almost that so many consumers have now had that personal experience. Mm-hmm. I had that, like, growing up, I always had, I lived in Chicago and then moved to Colorado. And when we moved to Colorado, I just had insanely dry skin because I went from like this humid place to this super dry place. Yeah. And it was always like, take this steroid, take this cream, and then they'd be like 5 years later, like, oh, you should probably stop taking that because you're not supposed to. Turns out you weren't supposed to take that for more than like 6 months. You're like, wait, what? I've been taking it for 5 years. Right. And I've told so many people this. Then finally, like a year and a half ago, I started taking a probiotic made for dry skin. Mm-hmm. Totally solved the problem.
I want to know what that is.
Skinessa.
Okay.
Dude, amazing. I preach from the mountaintops. $50 a month, probiotic, totally solved my dry skin.
That's cool.
And so I always use that as my example. Like the FDA and pharmaceuticals, it was like, oh, use this, it'll be fine. Oh, never mind, don't do that. That's really bad for you.
Right.
And, there's been class actions and all these things. And then it's like a natural probiotic. The same thing. They're like, we did these probiotics and prebiotics in the actual doses that you need. Yeah. And it's a little more expensive, but you take one pill a day. I'm like, see, I think so many consumers are not having that experience. Yeah. Where they're like, oh, I took something that solved my X or Y.
Yeah. Well, and they're waking up to the fact that they're a lab rat in a massive
Yeah.
experiment with these drug companies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of an interesting anecdotal story. I have a friend who, he took his health into his own hands, and his pathway was carnivore. So he
Oh,
is,
yeah.
for like 2 years, he only eats meat, and he's lost a ton of weight. His blood levels on all of the markers, all the bad ones are down, all the good ones are up. He's in great health. Anyway, he was telling me this story where he went into his doctor, and his doctor's like, "Man, whatever you're doing, don't stop." And and then his doctor was trying to recommend something to him, and he's like, "Now my doctor's like 350 pounds," and I'm like, "Dude, you got to get a new doctor." It's like,
Yeah.
why would you take
His
advice from someone who's obviously unhealthy
Yeah.
to fix your health?
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's where we are seeing that like big shift is people are starting to say like, uh, pharmaceuticals are the ones who do most of the advertising. Why are they advertising so much?
right.
That shift from like advertising to doctors to advertising to people to tell their doctors is
Yeah.
that in and of itself
Right.
is a whole wild thing
Yeah.
that we know the names of drugs that we're like, hey doctor, have we thought about this?
I know.
And so I think that
Yeah.
in some ways, this is my personal theory. My personal theory is that in some ways that kicked off this movement.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden they started marketing directly to consumers, and consumers started to have to do research, and then you add the internet in and, WebMD, and all of a sudden people are like, I'm actually doing all this research anyways.
Yeah.
Why don't I just figure this problem out myself?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's like happening and changing. So getting into some of the tactics of like a supplement company or even just broader entrepreneurship, what do you think are some of like those like very tactical lessons you've learned as you're building Wisewater? What are the things that you're thinking about that you're like, okay, from my side, here are the things I'm going to do. Here are the things I need to be thinking about. Because I think a lot of that experience that you've had, it starts to change you, and you look back. I look back on the things I started in college, and I'm like, man, what was I freaking thinking?
Right.
But it's that experience,
Yeah.
that changes.
There's a concept. I think Jeff Bezos this is Bezos's concept about revolving doors in business, and so you've got a business, and you need to make a change, or you need to try something new, or you need to do something. And you ask yourself, if I do this thing, is it a revolving door or is it a one-way door? And what he means by that is, if I go through this door and build this new division or try this new thing and it doesn't work out, can I just go back through the revolving door and go back to where I was and I'm fine?
Yeah.
Or is it a one-way door where, man, if we go down this path and it doesn't work, we're done.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, there are very few one-way doors. So it's like have this concept of if don't let your decisions or lack of decisions be driven by fear.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you need to do something or try something, I mean, be smart about it, but go through that door and try it. If it doesn't work out, don't let your ego make you feel bad. Just go, that didn't work. Let's go back.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the things that I've noticed, especially when I'm either working with new entrepreneurs or business partners who maybe don't have as much experience, it's like this paralysis in making decisions.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, and it comes back to this waking up every day and saying, what problems am I going to solve today? And so it's like you just get in, you hear the data, you make the decision. It's like the speed with which you make decisions moves the ball down the field, right?
Yes.
And you don't sit and ruminate for 6 months and then make a decision. It's like gather the facts, make a decision, and I think the more decisions that you make, the faster you make decisions, the better your company grows. Some of those decisions are not going to be good. They're not going to be the best decision.
Yeah.
But it's like a revolving door, right? It's like, oh, okay, that wasn't the best. Let's go back.
Yeah.
Right. And you just have to get good at making decisions and solving problems. I think that's probably the primary skill that I learned from my early days to today is the speed with which I make decisions.
Yeah.
And not caring Like I'm gonna do my best to analyze and make
Yeah.
the best decision, but not everyone's going to be a winner,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
So tactically, when you talk about that, it's just go.
Yeah.
I don't know if that.
No, I think that's like the most amazing advice ever, and I think it's so true. Even like I think Wise is a great example. What I would almost compare, if a inexperienced entrepreneur was doing this, they wouldn't talk about it, they wouldn't share it. I mean, you even just said like, yeah, our website's up, it's getting sales, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Your early entrepreneur would be like, I gotta perfect this website before I launch it.
Yeah.
And I think as you get more experience, you're like, meh, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Like testing is the key more than and being willing to just share with people like, hey, what do you think about this? And I'm fine if you say it sucks, but I want to know if it sucks.
100%.
And I notice, when people come, they're like, hey, I've got this idea. I'm like, you're just so worried about failing, and you're so worried it's not going to work. And I want to know if it's going to fail as quickly as possible and then fix it.
Yeah. And I think it was Henry Ford that some kid asked him, how do I be successful faster? And he said, double your failure rate.
Yeah.
And that's literally what it is. It's just get a glove on, get in the game. It's reps. It's at bats.
Yeah.
Just go and don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Because you will. You're gonna.
Yeah.
I've lost a ton of money. And stuff, right? But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's just we love the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's that process of testing stuff, and you see that I almost use the example. There's so many companies that I've had to rebrand because in the early days I'm like, I don't know. We'll just choose a cheap domain, and then we'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get down the road and you're like, dang it, that one. I would even say Pillicube. Pillicube's a name that I still am like, man, I wish I would have named it something different.
Yeah.
Just because
it
it's so
worked.
descriptive.
Like before I knew you, I bought one, so it worked.
That's good.
It worked. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. As you look at subscriptions, we wanted to kind of dive into some of the tactics. What do you see as you're thinking of Wise? You got great people, friends, family who love it. They're like, it is amazing. They're knocking down your door. How do you start to think about how to kind of that unit economics? I think that's another thing that experienced entrepreneurs are always trying to figure out is there's kind of this formula that you're building in your head. How do you build that formula? What are the metrics that you're looking at as you're thinking okay, not getting too distracted with some of the more visual things, but what are those numbers that you're paying attention to that you're like, okay, I got to hit this and this, and then I can put the gas down?
Yeah, and that's actually an interesting question because, our good friend Blake is involved with me on this, and I talk to him all the time about stuff like this. But this is my first foray into the brand side. I've always been in manufacturing, so I feel like I'm on a really steep learning curve trying to figure out this stuff.
Yeah.
But at least from my simple brain, as I understand it, you've got to kind of look at customer lifetime value, where if you have to have 6 months of data to understand that, right? What we were talking about earlier, where if I find the right customer avatar and they buy and they get on auto subscribe because they love the product. And at least this is my working philosophy right now. What I'm going to do is, and I'm going to kind of get there in a roundabout way. So one of the things that really resonates with me is I want to compete on value, not on price. Right?
Okay.
I don't want to race to the bottom. I am not trying to compete with Monster and Red Bull because it's not that at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the value? So I'm going to try and compete on value, not price. It's expensive and it's unapologetically expensive.
Yeah.
Right. But what's the value? And so my working philosophy is 100%. We've got to find the right avatar. We've got to get the advertising metrics right. We've got to get all of those things right. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to offer tons of discounts to get people to buy, because that's competing on price, not value. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take care of my evangelists. I'm going to take care of my raving fans.
Yeah.
And so my thinking is, you've on month 3 or month 4 on Subscribe and Save, I'm going to look at the metrics and say, what's the value of you as a customer to me, and how can I reward that, and how can I spend money there? And so I'm going to double their order without them asking. Just delight them, right? So give them an extra this, or try that for free, or whatever. And so I may not be the best guy to talk to about the metrics of all of that, because I'm still learning it, and I'm still, relying on other people like you and Blake and all these other people that are going to help me understand those metrics as I'm learning it. I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense. And I think that's where product and marketing all start to come together. And I think that's something that's shifting in entrepreneurship, is we're realizing like the number of people who are like, I don't want to sell crap, has increased. Like it used to be just more like, who cares? And now people are like, no, like the value of that customer and someone who is a raving fan, who does love you, who does talk about their friends, especially as we've given all these people social media, like that has amplified. And so what I think everyone's voices, and so by amplifying everyone's voices, what has happened is now customers are more valuable to businesses. It used to be, 40 years ago, it's like, well, if a mom doesn't love it, she might tell her friends, but it's kind of just the friends that she still sees. She's not going to call her friend from college. Now with social media, it's like, if they are really unhappy, they're going to call they're not call, but they're going to tell everyone they know. Yeah. And everyone they know is going to see it. And so it creates this network effect that I think is very interesting. And because of that, quality of products is going up. I think people are making better things. People are, and I think that is, you're 100% right. That lifetime value of customers is like the key metric. Yeah. Because I think Wise and 21 again are very similar in this way. ADHD is not going to go away. Like if someone struggles to focus, they can't take this once and then never need it again. Yeah. And so the most valuable customers are the people who are like, man, I feel that every day. I drink 2 of these a day, and I'm going to drink this the rest of my life. Yeah. And what is the value of that person? I think Breeze, I don't know if you've seen.
I love what those guys are doing.
They're doing an amazing job.
As a matter of fact, I'm kind of like, got a little bromance going with those guys. I want to do what they're doing. I think they did a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. Their team's incredible. And I think that's the right way to do it. It's, I think we're seeing this kind of switch back. We went down this like influencer road, and I think we're now coming back. We were talking about at the beginning. We're coming back to like authenticity, but also like authority figures are working better than they have in a long time. Pillicube just did this thing with a spine doctor that worked really well, and it all came about authentically. Like she's like, I love this product. It was not like a, hey, let's pay you a bunch of money. It was like, I love this product. It's changed the way I sleep. It's like, cool. Do you want to work together and figure out how to tell that story better? And she's like, yeah. And it was just that. And so I think it's that same thing, is how do you amplify, because it is, you look at the metrics of a supplement person, and that, like we said, that 6, 8, 12 month mark. Yeah. If you can get someone to subscribe for 12 months, the whole unit economics changes. Right. Like now you can spend 12 months, if you take, let's say 20% or 10% of the revenue of those 12 months, you can spend that on marketing instead of 30% of month 1. Yeah. Which is what traditionally, 4 years ago, everyone's obsessed with blended ROAS on the first month. And it's like, okay, we got to get a 4 blended ROAS. So we can take 25% of the first month and spend it on marketing. Yeah. And with something like a supplement, it's like, well, maybe we can spend 10% of every month. But if they're sticking around for 3 years, it's a lot of money. Yeah. You can spend on marketing. Yeah. So
totally agree. And again, I looked at this again because I've always been on the back end. I've always been the guy behind the scenes making the stuff, not the brand, not the customer facing stuff. And it's like, I looked at it through the lens of a consumer. Like, I'm a consumer,
Yeah.
and I want really good products that work,
Yeah.
and I'll be loyal to those products because they're good and they work. So start with making a good product.
Yeah.
Your frame of reference, the frame you look through is, how do I make a great product? And then you figure everything else after, because if you're like, how do I make a product that'll make a lot of money?
Yeah.
You just, that's not the right way to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's what private equity companies do. They come in and they're like, how do we cut costs? How do we?
Yeah.
It's always funny seeing stuff get acquired, and then 3 months later, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they changed the quality on this. You know,
Yep.
they started tweaking some things, and it's,
Yeah.
and not everyone. I think the best private equity groups are like, hey, let's keep being great,
Right.
and we'll add to it. But but it is funny sometimes when you see things get acquired, and you're like, oh, there's more air in that, or you
Yeah.
know, all these manufacturing tricks of like,
Yep.
there's more filler that they added in, and
Yeah. I'm thinking specifically of a few things right now that I used to love that I don't love anymore.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, there's a story. I can't remember. You might have told me this story about the sawdust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the product?
Well,
They were like adding sawdust more and more into like
yeah.
bread or something.
Yeah, something that's, maybe that wasn't me, but yeah. Anyway, that the sawdust reference is what caught me, because over the years at Blue Mountain, what I've done when people are saying, I'd give them a quote on a product, and they'd say, "Man, that's a lot more expensive than the guy down the street's giving me."
Yeah.
And this isn't so much anymore because regulations are better and people are more educated. But I'd be like, "Oh, okay," and I'd just end it there. I'd go buy the product
Yeah.
and send it to a lab and have it tested. And I'd call the guy a week later and I'd say, "Here's the reason why. Let me show you this test. Here's the reason why you can get it for the price you're getting it for, is you're not getting what they're telling you you're getting,
Yeah.
right? And they're putting sawdust in it, right?
Yeah.
And they're calling it one thing, and it's not really that. That's not as much anymore because people are wising up, but
Yeah.
I'd get a lot of business that way because people would just say, "Yeah, there's 1,000 milligrams of this in there," and I'd get it and like, "Yeah, there's 200."
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a commodity business. I know how much the ingredients cost. I know how much it costs to make. It's like, that price doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And here's why.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Someone's got to pay for it.
Yeah.
There's always going to be some shortcut that people are taking. So.
yeah.
It's awesome. Well, any other kind of final words of wisdom, any other advice you would share with people if someone's getting into entrepreneurship? What would you kind of tell them?
You know, entrepreneurship's not for everybody. Like, I found out that I had to be an entrepreneur because I'd get fired from jobs I had, right?
Yeah.
I can't keep a job, so I gotta make my own job. But if you have that bug, if that's something that you aspire to, it's a hard road, but it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's just like, I love getting up in the morning and going, all right, let's go. And so I would just say, just stick with it. Consistency wins over flash in the pan every time. So just every single day, keep your eye focused on that. And then here's my last parting thought. And this comes from a book I just read, which is my new favorite book. It's called 10X is Easier Than 2X.
Yeah.
Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy.
Yep.
And they talk about the gap and the gain. And so the concept here is, when you're an entrepreneur and you've got your eyes set on a goal, and let's say you achieve that goal. I know so many entrepreneurs, myself included, get there and it falls really flat. They're like, oh, I'm not that good. So people external to you will look at your success and say, oh man, he's just really great. But the entrepreneur feels like a failure.
Yeah.
And here's the reason why, and this was the key learning for me from this, is when you look at an ideal and you're like, this is the goal. I want to be this person, or I want to have this company. I want to do this thing, accomplish this thing. That's your ideal. And here's the reality is, you can never achieve an ideal. An ideal only shows you what's possible. So you orient your direction to that ideal. You strive for that ideal, but once you reach it, it's like chasing the horizon, right? Once you reach that ideal, the horizon or the next ideal is still out there on the horizon.
Yeah.
That's why these entrepreneurs feel like failures. Is like they're measuring themselves and their progress in the gap. So like, I'm here, but I could or should be here on this ideal, and that's a sad, unhappy life because you're never achieving your goal.
Yeah.
And what he says is you orient yourself towards the ideal and you work towards it. But when you want to measure your progress, stop, turn around and look at the gain. Don't measure in the gap, measure the gain. So turn around and where were you 2 years ago and where are you today and what progress have you made? That makes you happy. That charges you up. That's motivating. That's inspiring. That gives you the fuel to keep going. Because there are times when it's a long, hard, lonely road. People only cheer at the beginning and at the end. In the middle, it's hard.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I would say is just keep going.
It's amazing advice. I think that's such a great principle. I think it's very true. You hit these points as an entrepreneur where, good times and the hard times. The hard times, you're kind of like, man, what am I doing? Right. But when you do look back, you're like, you start to find satisfaction in like, I'm a better entrepreneur than I was 2 years ago. That's awesome. Yeah. I've learned things. I've gone through challenges and kind of like you said, I think those hard times are the ones you kind of look back and you're like, man, that was fun. We made it out of it.
Yeah.
Or we didn't and learned some hard lessons, but now I'm doing new things. And so I think that's amazing. Usually my last question is, what's a book you've read that's changed your life? So that's awesome. Yeah. So 10X is Easier Than 2X by Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan.
Dan Sullivan.
Yeah. Any other books that you would kind of say?
Well, I've followed Hormozi for a few years.
Yeah.
And I like his stuff. And this business scaling workshop I went to a couple of weeks ago was my first experience there.
Yeah.
And it was such a good experience that now I read $100 million offers, his first book, and we're listening to $100 million leads right now. And so I'm going through his book series, and I like that a lot. There's some good stuff in there for me that I need to learn.
Yeah, he's a very good people kind of give him crap about stuff sometimes, and he's got great tactics.
Yeah.
And great strategies that really do work.
Well, and the difference was I always thought, oh, this guy makes money on content. His face is everywhere. He's talking about stuff. His content's good. But then when I went and I listened to him and the team that he's developed, I'm like, this guy has been in the trenches working hard, figuring it out and improving himself. So he's got the chops. So I've got a lot of respect for him now.
Yeah.
More so than I had before.
Dude, that's amazing. Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah, this has been fun,
and being willing to share all the lessons that you had to work very hard to learn.
Yeah, it's true.
Awesome.
Hard fought. Thanks.
Hey, thanks.
All right.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Dude, that was awesome.
Good.
Fired up.
I love the gap in the gain thing is amazing.
Yeah, no, that's such a, I got to tell my kids that, right? Because they're like, oh, I'm just, and I'm like, turn around and look at, I'm looking at where you've come from.
Yes.
You've grown so much. It's like, focus on that.
And sometimes it's hard you need people who love you to kind of tell you that. Like, hey, look, look backwards. I think that is I've never heard the horizon idea, and I think that's so brilliant. It's that you're always you're always chasing the horizon. The horizon is always moving.
Yeah, you can't get it.
Yeah, it'll never get there.
Yeah, and sorry, go ahead.
No, I just man, that's such a great analogy of, and it's not bad to look at the horizon. When you're walking forward, you got to look at the horizon.
An ideal tells you what's possible.
Yeah,
and you're like, that's inspiring. So keep working towards that, but have the wisdom to go, I'm not going to measure against what's out there. I'm going to measure where I've come from.
Yeah. So. Dude, that's awesome.